Golf games have been topping the chart for many years. Casual gameplay mechanics and awesome graphics have made these games playable by large audiences. I love golf games a lot. Great way of time buster. And I'm sure you guys also must have played some type of golf game in your life. Hello guys and welcome back to Mad Fire on channel. So in this tutorial, we are going to create a simple casual looking golf game. In this video, we are going to check mouse track control, which will be used to rotate our camera and apply force and direction to our ball. Level manager, which will help us manage our level progress, singleton concept and more. Before we start, you need to download and import the starter project. So go to description, click on starter project link, download Unity package, then create Unity project, change the platform to Android and import the package to it. Now we are ready to follow the tutorial. As you can see here, we have already imported our project. So we have our game assets, which holds the art, material and all the other things. So as you can see here, we have this physics material folder as well. So here we have two materials, one is for ball mat and one is for ground mat. And in our prefab, we have this ball object, which has this sphere collider, which has a material of ball mat, as well as we have these parts for our golf level. So some of them have this material called ground material. And we also have two default scripts. So one is camera follow and one is sound manager, which I will explain as we move forward. We have this canvas which is already created. In this canvas we have our main menu, which we can see here. If I expand it, we can see we have this grid holder. Now grid holder is to create a grid here for our levels. So let's say if we have 10 levels, then we will show 10 buttons in a grid. Then if I deactivate this and activate our game menu, in our game menu we have nothing but power bar, which shows how much power we are applying. Then we have this short count text, so it will show our limit of our counts and how many counts we are remaining. Then we have this game over panel, so basically it will get activated whenever our level is complete or we have failed our level. So this is what we have. Let's deactivate this and so right now activate this, and let's deactivate our canvas as well. We don't need right now. As you can see here, camera holder is a game object at a position 0, and inside that we have our camera, which has already position and angle. So we will be moving our camera. It has a camera follow script attached to it. So right now we can just remove it, we don't need it, we will add it afterward. Okay, the first thing what we will do is we will create a dummy, what you can say, level. So right click and create an empty game object, and let's call this level. Now inside level, let's create a cube, and let's set its y scale to 0.25, and I want to set its color. So before we set the color, let's set the material. So for box collider, we will drag our ground material to it, and for color, as you can see in materials folder, we have this red mat and green mat. So I will just drag our green mat here. Let's increase the x by 3 and z by 3, or maybe 6 by 6. Okay, after that right click and duplicate. Here I won't need this material, I will just remove this, and instead of green material we will add our red material. So this will be our edges, so edge. Now for our edge, let's change the view. just click it here. What we will do is we will set our x to 0.25. Okay, and let's move it to -3, and let's go to our x and see. I will just change it to 0.5 and I will move it up. Now I will duplicate this and change the x to 3. Then again duplicate it. This time let's set x to 0, z to 3. Instead of x being 0.25, set it to 6 and set z to 0.25. And let's duplicate this, and for this set the y, set the z to -3. Okay, so we have a dummy level ready for us. Okay guys, now let's try and drag our ball here outside and see. Okay, as you can see here, okay, so our level is good enough to hold our ball. So now we need a controller for our ball, so which we can use to add our force and all those things. So if you see in our ball prefab, we have few things. So this is the ball mesh. So this ball is just a holder which has a rigid body and a collider attached to it. Ball mesh is the thing which we can visualize here. It is a render 3D model here. Then we have this area effector. So this circle you see. So we are using this circle to define the area within which we can click and drag to add any angle or a force to our ball. Then we have this direction line renderer game object, which has a line renderer component attached to it. And it has this line renderer has a material of arrow mat, and its width is 0.1, and the size of the points are set to 2 because we need only 2 points. So one will be the position of this line renderer itself, which will be a starting point, and the other will be the point at where we have clicked. So now let's create a ball controller. So in scripts folder, right click and create a new C# script, and let's call this ball controller. So we know our ball controller will be attached to a game object which will have a rigid body or needs to have a rigid body. So for that we will write here like required component type of rigid body, and what this will do is whenever we drag the script to any game object, it will attach a rigid body to it. So now we will make our ball controller an instance. So for that we will type public static ball controller instance. Then in awake method we will write if instance is equal to null, then instance equal to this, else destroy game object. So let's say we created multiple ball controllers in our scene. So what this will do is only one of them will become the instance and all the others will be get destroyed. And as we need only one ball controller per level, so this will protect any errors which can get when we create multiple ball controllers. Now we need a reference to few child objects. So first will be line renderer. So we'll type private line renderer, line renderer. Then we will type serialize field, private game object, area effector, and then we need few floats. So we will type serialize field, private float, max force, and force modifier. So max force is the limit, that is the maximum force which we can apply to our ball when we shoot. And force modifier is the basically a multiplier. So whenever we click and drag, we just multiply that distance with this force modifier. We can apply a more force to our ball. Now we will need a private float force variable. So this is the actual variable which will be applied to our rigid body. Then we need a private rigid body RG body. So this is a variable which will store reference to our rigid body component. In awake, we will type rg_body equal to get component rigid body. So in awake method only, we are going to get the rigid body component. Let's save and go back to our editor. So in our ball, so first we will go to its prefab. So click on this prefab and click on this open prefab, and then drag our ball controller to it. So it requires a line renderer, so drag this our directional line renderer to it. It requires area effector, so drag our area effector as well. Now maximum force depends on you how much you want to add. I will just add 25, and force modifier will be 1.5. So let's go back. So now we need to apply force to our ball depending on the drag which we are doing. So to decide the drag, how much we have drag as well as what is the direction we want to apply our force, we need few more variables. So first we need two vector threes. So we'll create private vector 3 start pose, end pose. So these two vector threes will be responsible for tracking the first click and the current click we have made in our level. Then we will need a private bool can shoot variable. So by default it will be false. Now this variable will define when we can shoot, and then we need a private vector 3 direction. So this variable will give us the direction, or in this variable we are going to store our direction in which we have to shoot our ball. So if I save and go back to our editor, there is one more thing guys in our level. So if I go to our prefab level and if I click on open prefab, you can see there is one ray detector. Now we need this ray detector. It is basically a box collider, and it is like you can see it is bigger than our level. It is used to detect the point which we have clicked on this level. So this also we need. So I'll just copy this, go back to our game. In our level I will just try to paste it. Okay, so if I go back, okay, so as you can see it is big enough. Let's move it here. Okay, so now we have this ray detector added to our level, and you can also see here the layer. Our ray detector is on different layer, which is a ray layer. Now if you guys don't have this layer in your game, you can just go click here, click on this add, and just add this layer to it. So we need a reference to this layer as well. So here we will create a serialized field private layer mask, and we will call this ray layer. Now we are going to use our mouse click to detect our start position as well as our end position. So now in update we need three basic if conditions. So first will be if input dot get mouse button down 0 and can shoot is false. So here we check if we have just clicked our mouse button and can shoot is false, then we will perform some code here. The second is if input dot get mouse button 0. So this condition checks if we have already clicked our mouse button and if we are dragging or all those things. Then third one is if input dot get mouse button up 0. So here we check if we have left our mouse click. So now to detect our positions, that is our start position as well as our end position, we need one more method, and we will create a vector 3 clicked point method. Now inside that we will create a variable vector 3 position equal to vector 3 dot 0. Then we will create a ray. So var ray is equal to camera dot main dot screen point to ray, and we'll pass in the input dot mouse position. So it will create a ray starting from our camera, which will be passing through our mouse position. Then we need a raycast hit, which will be equal to new raycast hit. And in if condition, we will check if physics dot raycast, we will pass our ray in it, we will get out hit. Our length will be mathf dot infinity, and our layer, which will be limited to our ray layer. And in that we will get our position, which will be equal to hit dot point, and then we will return our position. Now the reason we are doing this is because if we just save and go back to our editor, so let's say if we click on our screen, then it won't give us the world position, as and we want the position corresponding to this ball, right? If we click, it gives us this screen position. So what we are basically doing is, let's say I'm clicking here, so we will pass a ray from this point, and it will keep on going unless and until it hits some game object to it. So right now, as you can know, we have this ray detector, and our ray only detect game object which will have this, which will be on layer ray layer. So if I go to our ball controller, let's go to its prefab, and here we have this ray layer. Instead of nothing, just put it to ray layer, and let's go back. Now what will happen is the ray will only detect objects on this ray layer. Okay, so whenever we click, the ray will be passed, and once it hit any object which is on this layer, we will get the position of that. So let's go back to our script. So here in the condition, when we click on, when the mouse is down and can shoot is false, so we will set our start pose equal to clicked point. Then we will set our line renderer dot game object dot set active to true. Then we want to set our line renderer's first position, so we'll type line renderer dot set position. In that we will going to set the index 0 position, and it will be equal to our line renderer dot transform dot local position. Now we are using local position because our line renderer game object is a child of our ball object. Now in our input dot get mouse button condition, we will set our end pose equal to clicked point. Then we need to calculate our force. So our force will be equal to mathf dot clamp. So we'll get the distance. So vector 3 dot distance between our end pose and start pose. We will multiply that distance with our force multiplier, and we need to clamp it between 0 and max force. Next, we will set our line renderer dot set position index 1, and that will be our transform dot inverse transform point end pose. Now the reason here our position is transform dot inverse transform point is because this inverse transform point converts the world position into the local position, and as we know, our line renderer is a child of our this ball game object. We want to set its local position. If we won't do this, then we will get few errors while setting our line renderer. Now in condition input dot get mouse button up 0, we will set our can should equal to true, and we deactivate our line renderer. So our line renderer dot game object dot set active to false. Okay, so we are doing all these thing in update. We also need to add a force to our rigid body, and we know all the physics are or must be happen only in fixed update. So for that we will create a private void fixed update method. So here we'll check if can should is true, then we set our can should equal to false. We get our direction equal to our start pose minus our end pose. Then we set our rigid body dot add force direction into force, and we will set it to force mode dot impulse. Then we deactivate our area effector, so we'll set area effector dot set active to false. We set our force equal to 0 and set our start pose equal to end pose equal to vector 3 dot 0. So now we have added force to our ball. So we also let's save this and go back to our editor. So click on this ball game object and let's see we have everything. Okay, so let's try. If I click on play and if I click and drag, you can see we are getting our line renderer as well as the direction we want to shoot. So if I just shoot it, you can see I can shoot it. And okay, right now it is just shooting. Okay, it went outside. Okay, there is a small issue. As you can see here, our line renderer is little bit in a slope. As you can see, our start position is at lower position than our end position, and we need to fix this thing, else we will get some issues when we add the force. So what we can do is uh, we're setting it here, right? End pose. So it's pretty easy. Here we'll set our end pose dot y is equal to our line renderer dot transform dot local position dot y, and let's try it. Let's click. Okay, it's going below this thing, that is also not good. Maybe just try position. Okay, with position we are getting things, but I don't know, sometimes it's giving the issue. Okay, we will look into this, guys. Okay, so the functionality of our ball controller is complete. Now we can add the force to our ball and do all this thing. Now we need to uh, what I can say, make our camera follow our ball. So for that we will just drag our camera follow script on our camera holder, and you can see here we have this active vector. So we want to make our camera follow only in x and z direction. If I go inside our camera follow, you can see here we are making it an instance. We have a variable called follow target which holds the reference to our target. We have this offset. So offset is stores the distance or whatever the positional distance between the target as well as the camera. Then we have change pose. So this is the vector which will be applied to our position whenever we want to change the camera pose. So this is a method which we will be calling to set our target. So let's call this. We can go to our ball controller, and inside our start, let's set our camera dot instance dot set target, and we'll call this game object. Okay, so now we have set our target. We set the offset, we set the change position, and then in our late update, so as we are updating in fixed update, we need to use late update or fixed update. So right now we are using late update to update our camera. So if we have our follow target, then we check if the vector x is active. If it is, then we change position in x axis. If y is active, then we change position y, and same for z. So let's save and go back to our editor. And now if I click And let's one thing guys, if I click and if I move only like this, then we get some error while showing a direction. We need to drag it a little more. So you can add some threshold which makes sure that, or if the drag is below this much limit, we won't consider it as a drag. So as you can see here, if I shoot, uh, our camera is basically following it. So let's stop this thing, go back, and let's close this camera for we don't need this. So now let's add a script for our camera rotation. Let's close this thing. In scripts folder, right click and new and create a new C# script, and let's call this camera rotation. So in our camera folder, just drag our camera rotation and double click on it to open it in editor. So here we will create a serialized field, private float rotation speed, which will be equal to 0.25. We don't need our start and update, so we can remove them. Then we will create an instance. So public static camera rotation instance, and in awake we will set our instance. Now to rotate our camera, we will create a method public void rotate camera, and it will have a parameter float x-axis rotation. Inside that we will set our transform dot rotate. Our axis will be vector 3 dot down, that is our y-axis, and our angle will be minus x-axis rotation into our rotation speed. Now we will call this in our update, so void update, and we just set our rotate camera, and our input at x-axis rotation will be input dot or get axis, and which will be mouse x. Let's go back. So click on our ball prefab and deactivate this ball controller because we need to check our camera rotation. So camera holder, we have the rotation script. Click on play. Okay, so our camera got destroyed. Okay, our camera is getting destroyed. So let's go to our camera rotation, and we need to remove our static. So maybe this one is causing some issue for us. Just remove that. Okay. Click on save and go back to our editor. So our ball controller is deactive. Click on play, and let's try to rotate. Okay, we need to activate our camera rotation and right. So as you can see here, we can move. One mistake we did. If we go to our camera rotate, we are just updating without any if condition. So if our input dot get mouse button, that is our 0, then only we will update. And let's set our rotation speed to 0.6. Click on play, and now you can see here guys, we can rotate our camera. Okay, so one thing we have is our ball controller as well as our camera needs input from our mouse. So what we will do is we will create a new script input manager, and that will decide who will get access to the input. So we know we have a condition that if our click is inside this circle, then we want to give the input to our ball, and if it is outside the circle, then we want to give input to our camera. So in scripts folder, we will right click and create a new C# script, and we will call this input manager. Let's double click on it to open it in editor. So now we will need a serialized field private float distance limit. By default it will be 1.5. So distance limit will be our tracker. If the distance between our what you can say ball and the click position is more than this distance, then we can rotate our camera. If it is less, then we will rotate or we will add force to our ball. Then we need a private float drag distance. So this will store the actual distance between the ball and the click. And then we need a private boot can rotate, which will be false by default. So to calculate the distance, we will create a new method void get distance. So in that we will create a var plane which will be equal to new plane camera dot main dot transform dot forward, and the second will be ball controller dot instance dot transform dot position. So here we are creating a new plane whose normal is in direction of our camera dot main dot transform dot forward, and the point that is the center of this plane will be equal to our ball controller, that is our ball game object's position. Then we create a var ray which will be equal to camera dot main dot screen point to rate input dot mouse position. Then we create a variable float distance. Then we check if plane dot raycast, which returns us a bool. We pass ray comma out dist. Inside that we will set our var v3 pose is equal to ray dot get point distance. So we get the point at a distance. Then we set our drag distance equal to vector3 dot distance v3 pose comma ball controller dot instance dot transform dot position. Now we have our distance, so we can now decide. We don't need a start method, so I can just we can just remove that. So in update, we need three if condition. So first will be if input dot get mouse button down 0 and can rotate is false. Second, if can rotate is true. And third, if input dot get mouse button up 0. Now in first condition, we will get our distance. Then we set our can rotate equal to true. Then we will check if our drag distance is less than or equal to our distance limit. Then we going to perform action on our ball controller. So let's copy this, and we need this in our can rotate condition as well. Or what we can do is instead of putting this condition outside our can rotate, we'll just remove it and we will put it here. And let's copy this and paste it here, and we need one more condition, that is if our input dot get mouse button so inside this also we will have this condition as well. We will have for else, and this one will be for our camera. So now let's go back to our camera rotate, and we don't need update here, so I can just cut, remove this. Okay, and we need to call this method in our input manager. As we know, we cannot directly call this method to our input manager, so we will need to create a reference. Or what we can do is in our camera follow, as we have instance for it, we will create a new serialize field, and we will call this private camera rotation, camera rotation, as both the script are attached on the same game object. And here in our input manager, on this condition, if can rotate is true and get mouse button 0 is true, in this else condition we'll just call our camera follow dot instance dot. Okay, for that we need to make this a public, because private we cannot access it. Let's keep it private, we don't want to modify it from any other code. We will create a getter for it, so we'll create a public camera rotate, and we'll call this camera rotate, and we will create a getter, so get, and we will return our camera rotate. Okay, now we can access it. So input, go to input manager dot camera rotate, and okay, so here we are calling our camera follow, then going to our camera rotate and calling that method. Let's go back to, let's go to our first ball controller. Now we are using this update method in ball controller, which we don't need anymore. So we'll create a new method, so we'll call this public void mouse down method. Then we will have a public void mouse normal method, and then we will have our public void mouse up method. Okay, so we have all this method. So what we have to do is just for mouse down, just cut this and paste it here. For mouse normal, copy this and paste it here, and for mouse up, copy this and paste it here. And you can see we no more need this can should to be applied here, because in our input manager we will be checking can rotate before we do that. So I can just now remove this update method because we don't need it, right? Let's go to our input manager, and here in the condition, if our distance drive distance is less than our distance limit, we'll just call our ball controller dot instance dot mouse down method. So I will just copy this, and in this get mouse button method we'll call our mouse normal method, and in up we'll call our mouse up method. And one more thing, once we remove our mouse click, we set our can rotate equal to false. Let's go back to our editor and let's see how it is working. Here is ball controller, let's activate this ball controller. In camera holder we have this, so let's drag our camera rotate, the reference of our camera follow, or you can always in our camera follow, you can just in our method you can just get the component attached. We need a new game object, so create a new game object, reset its position and call this input manager. Let's drag our input manager to it, and the distance is 1.5. Now guys, you have to adjust this distance according to the circle. So if I click on play and let's click on outside this circle, you can see I can rotate my camera and I won't see any lines in there. If I click on this circle, you can see I see my line render. I cannot rotate my camera, but I can add a force to my ball. So our input manager is working. We are applying our force as well as rotating our camera with our conditions. So now, if you want to save this level, you can just drag it and save it as a level prefab. I will just delete it because I don't need it. You can see we already have 5 levels. So let's delete this thing. Let's delete our ball as well. You can see I have already created this 5 level for testing purpose. So now we need a level manager to spawn our level as well as our ball. So in scripts folder, right click and create a new C# script, and let's call this level manager. And we need one more script. We'll call this level data. So this script will hold a reference to the game object or the prefab of our level, as well as few other data like number of shots we can take in that particular level. So let's open them in our editor. So for level data, it will be a non-mono behavior because we are not going to attach it to anywhere. Let's remove this. Now, as it is a non-mono behavior, we have to make it serializable. So system dot serializable. So that we can add it to our inspector like that. Now this class will hold only two information. So first will be public int short limit. So number of shots we can take that for that particular level, and public game object level prefab. So this will store the reference to the level prefab. Now in level manager,